Hey fam, welcome to Driven Life TV. Welcome to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and please leave a comment in the comment section below. So without much ado, let us dive into today's video. Now today we'll be reacting to a segment on the Dave Ramsey show. And I think at this time they were actually trying to help people with their financial problems, maybe their financial predicaments. And so this session is of a certain guy who called in trying to express that he was finding it hard to actually share with his wife that he has millions. And then he was trying to get wisdom on how he should handle the situation. And so the reason why I'm reacting to this is for us to actually try to get understanding on how to approach a situation, especially if you're in a position where you have to offer counsel. I find it so interesting that so many people don't know how to counsel people in their relationship predicaments. And so most of the times you find them offering advice that is rooted in their own experience without really understanding a person's situation. And so this is what happens in this particular segment of their show, where Dave Ramsey and his co-host just end up bashing this person and labeling him something that he may not entirely be. So I want us to look through it, and maybe through that some of you who have the privilege of counseling people, offering advice, can learn a few things on how to approach this thing. So let us do that right now.
Should I ever disclose to my wife that we are secretly worth millions of dollars?
Are you from another culture?
I was born in Korea, but I was raised in San Jose.
So you were raised by Korean parents that immigrated here?
That is correct.
Okay.
And
Because
I'm 32
in
years old.
Anglo-America, what you just described, as you probably realize, is pretty whacked. That's
And
why I
I'm
immediately said, is there
I'm
some kind of a cultural reason for this? Because it's very unusual.
I work. My wife is a stay-at-home wife because that's just how we chose to. The thing is, I'm the saver and she's the spender. I have been working very hard, working my job in my business to grow to where we are. And I am not sure whether I should ever disclose our net worth to her because I do not know how she's going to react.
Yeah. Well, she's probably going to react poorly because she's married to a guy who's deceived her. Don't you think?
Now, if you notice from the get-go, you can actually understand. Actually, so many people, once you hear the situation that you're trying to hide information from your partner, especially in marriage, that's a big red flag. How do you hide something as important as how much money you have as a couple from your partner? Okay, that is deception at its core. And so that is the first reaction that Dave Ramsey has to say, well, how do you think she will react when she discovers that her partner is actually a deceiver? But the question is, maybe instead of simply coming to that conclusion, we can simply find out to say, when she says she's a spender, and I am the saver. What does that mean? How does that look like practically? What makes you come to that conclusion? Trying to understand his context. Why is he is he hesitating to actually share that information with his wife? Is he saying that he's going to spend his money on his own selfishly and just deplete the family's resources? Not really. Is he a stingy person? Maybe we need to find out. Is it that maybe he has incorrectly labeled his wife as a spender when he is actually the one who is misunderstanding the situation? Okay, it's really important to understand these pieces of information to say, okay, what is going on? Because I'm not seeing this man sharing this information from a dominating fashion to say he's just trying to be the only one to have this information. He's the one who is trying to be controlling. I don't think that is his demeanor. I think he's sharing it from fear. And so when someone is sharing something from fear, maybe we should find the legitimacy of that fear. Otherwise, we'll come up with conclusions that may not be helpful to him and his situation. Let's continue to hear.
To be honest, the thing is, she and I have very different perspectives when it comes to finances.
I got that.
A saver, like I'm a minimalist. She's very much a free spirit.
I know, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that you've been married to her for 5 years and sleeping with her for 5 years. You didn't know you got any money. That's deception.
I handle all the finances in the family.
Honey, you're not listening. You keep
No, he is not listening. Okay, do you understand here? He has a point that he wants to drive across, and he has a belief about the situation already without really understanding or getting more information. And that's a problem. In counseling, you can never do that. Be very good at listening. That means you need to be patient with it. Sometimes you may have your own assumptions, but maybe come to a place where you're a bit patient to say, okay. Maybe let me get more information that can build some context to what I think is going on. Because as a counselor, for sure, you have met so many issues, you have met so many situations, and so you have helped people through so many things that sometimes certain things bear resemblance to some things that you have actually helped people with. And so when you see that situation coming up, you need to be patient with it. Otherwise, you'll be surprised that people's situations may look similar, but the context may be different, and so the counsel may end up being different based on the context. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So, anyways, let's continue.
Deflecting every time I bring this at you. You have deceived your wife actively. She's not going to be cool with that. You hear that?
So I understand that she's going to be somewhat. She is going to be angry. What I'm more troubled about is how she is going to take the news of these finances, and if she's going to spend even more.
No, we got that. You're scared to death. Hold on.
You're scared she's going to go spend all your money, Bubba, which is the reason you lied to her in the first place. I value a quality marriage and relationship going into my old age, because we've now been married almost 43 years. I value that more than money. You don't. So I'm having trouble.
Oh my God. You see? He says he doesn't value a quality marriage and relationship. Now, I want to emphasize here, withholding information like that from your partner or your wife or your husband is not a wise thing to do. As a principle, it's not a wise thing to do. But different contexts are important for us to understand. Now, how would I have handled the situation? I would have first of all understood that, okay, transparency or a lack of it is not a good thing. Okay, you need to be transparent with a partner, no matter what, especially in marriage. No secrets whatsoever. Okay, no secrets. But it's also important to understand, to say, why is he scared? Why is he scared? Why doesn't he want to share that information? Because that information is not bad. It's not like he has spent all the money of the family and is scared to tell his wife. No. It's not that his family is bankrupt and doesn't want his wife to know. No. His family is doing really well, and so he doesn't want his wife to know. Why? Okay. Is he someone who is withholding from providing for his family and making sure they have everything they need, making sure that they're not suffering, maybe they're not operating on a very strict budget where their lives are not breathable? I don't think that's what he's doing. But he doesn't want to share that information. Why? So maybe I could have found out more from there, okay, and then try to give counsel to say, okay, you need to be transparent with your spouse. That is not even a negotiation. Maybe you need to know how to share these things because of the context that we're seeing here. Maybe offer some wisdom on how to navigate that, how he can overcome that fear. Maybe he needs to find a way to put that money in secure ways so that when she shares the information, there will be no easy ways of his partner spending it, but they can simply know that we actually have a lot of money. Okay, so I hope you understand what I'm saying. So this is really interesting. Yeah.
Connecting with you on this. I can't imagine a world where I would deceive my wife actively about any major thing for 5 years. About anything, not even a major thing. I don't deceive her about anything. I'm not sure I know how to answer your question. I will tell you this. I'm just the older guy sitting over here going, okay, you brought some culture into this where the guy's
It's
in
not
charge
a cultural thing.
and the lady doesn't have any say or any vote, especially if she...
You see? He's not coming across as someone who is trying to be in charge of everything and this doesn't want to to make his wife, maybe he's trying to treat his wife as if she doesn't matter. That's not how he's coming across. The reason why at the beginning I said that it's really important to understand context instead of simply projecting your own situations on a person is because I feel like Dave Ramsey walked a path where at some point he was withholding information from his wife. He was not taking counsel from her. He was making investments on his own. He was just moving like a tornado. And so he led his family into bankruptcy. And so after that, he stopped doing that. He started to share everything with his wife and they started doing everything together. Okay. And so he learned his lesson that way. And so when he sees a situation that resembles his first part of his journey, I think it rubs him a certain way. And so he just begins to say, no, you're a deceiver. No, you're this, you're that. Which is okay. But at the end of the day, if you're doing counseling, you can not simply project. You cannot simply project. You need to make sure that you're trying to understand the situation. Okay, transparency is a key that cannot be broken in marriage. But maybe give a person wisdom on how to share this thing with his wife. Give a person wisdom on how to navigate that character flaw that may be in his wife. Maybe even help him understand whether that thing is well founded or not. Maybe it's actually just him playing games on himself. His wife may actually be a person who is just proper. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there has to be counsel that is more productive. You can actually see him giving labels to this man without really knowing much about him. There's no probation here. There's nothing like asking for more. You understand what I'm saying?
She's a spender. And so all of that combined with your nerd-like paranoia has led you to this deception. And so I'm giving you a little bit of grace here, but I'm telling you,
There's
this
no
is
grace
not
at
going
all.
to end well. The longer you
True.
put this off, the worse this is going to get. This is a
Yeah.
weird thing you've done, and you need to own that.
My goodness. So this is very important. You need to learn how to counsel properly. Otherwise, even offering advice, you can end up simply trying to replicate your life in people's lives. So maybe we need to have principles that relationships and marriage function by. But at the same time, whenever you see a situation, try to understand context better. In that way, you find out that people will get helped better. They will feel heard. They'll feel understood, instead of simply putting a label on them, even before you actually hear them out. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let me just look at a few comments here. He says, he's worried she would divorce him immediately and take half. This is someone who actually subscribed to the unfair treatment that men get in divorces. Now, someone here, I think, says, I disagree with the response to the issue. I am a second generation Korean American female, though he needs to disclose to his wife. Very important. The tone he explained was not in dominance but fear. He needs help knowing how to explain to his wife to partner properly with their assets. The tone from Dev was a bit degrading as soon as he heard this guy was Asian. Do you understand here? I think this woman is actually describing it properly. I'm just assuming this is a woman. Yeah, it's a female. You can actually see that Dave judged the person way before he actually heard the story. And I think he actually labeled it a cultural thing. It's not a cultural thing. Actually, most people in America are living like this, where they're not even telling their women anything. Why? Because most women in America are materialistic. And so they overspend every time. And so they keep their finances away from them. But in cultures like Asia, I don't think people operate like this. You see? He needed help knowing how to share with his wife. And then someone says, why did you marry her if you don't trust her? I think this should have been a question that was asked of him before marriage. Yes, he should have done his due diligence regarding the spending habits of his wife, but now he's in it. Offer him counsel that will be helpful instead of simply saying, why did you marry her if you don't trust her? They're in it, so what should happen? Okay? And then someone says, don't tell her. No, that's not a good thing as well. Okay? And then someone says, I have 500K and my wife has no clue also. No, that's not good. And then someone says, would you tell an addict that there's a kilo in the basement? Interesting. And then someone says that's actually called financial abuse. Hey, my God. And someone says, no, never. She will start living like a millionaire. So some people have partners who are really spenders. Once you tell them, they want their expenses to go way up way beyond the roof. And so it takes wisdom on how to navigate such situations. So some people don't do the due diligence before marrying someone to find out their spending habits, things like that. So they marry them because they look good and they are attracted to them. The next thing you know is after marriage, you can see someone's spending habits and you're like, my God, we are not going to make any money, are we? We are not going to progress or maybe grow financially as a couple, because every time your income grows, this person's spending grows. And so if you're in that situation, there's need for wisdom on how to do this. Do you understand? Finally, I think someone says, if she's American, trust me, she already knows. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, so I think there's so many comments of people trying to give their own perspective. It's really important. Transparency and honesty are very key principles in marriage. You don't have to hide things from your partner. And most importantly, marry someone you trust. Marry someone you have actually tried to vet properly as a person. Then from there, make sure you're living a life together. You don't have to hide anything. Secrets will kill a marriage before they can help it. So, anyways, that's what I had for you. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think? Was this handled well or not? But in my opinion, it wasn't. Anyways, thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a good one.